Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel Merely on Time Watch Reviews. My name is Chris and I unbox and review watches. Yeah, I still do. It has been a long time since I've had a review video, and today we are looking at this beautiful watch by Christopher Ward. This is the C1 Moonglow. Now normally I unbox and review budget watches like this Casio 200H, MRW 200H, by Casio that I'm wearing on my wrist today. I gave one of these away. In fact, after I'm done filming this video, I'm going to be dropping the watches in the post office to the winners of my 1,500 subscriber giveaway. And thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Now, normally I unbox and review budget watches. This one is actually up there in the luxury timepiece stratosphere, I guess you could say. This one retails for $3,000 Canadian, give or take $100 or so. I'll put the exact price in the description of the video, as well as a link to the Christopher Ward website where you can have a look at this watch if it's something that interests you. I really love this piece. I got it about a month ago on August the 13th. It was a full moon on that day, so I set the watch. I set the complication for the moon phase to a full moon. I've seen it go through a complete cycle. How did it fare as it went through its complete cycle? I'll let you know. There's some other quirks about this that I think could be changed in order to make it that much better. And so we're going to discuss all of that on today's episode. Thank you so much for your support. Please consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And of course, I welcome your comments. Let me know what you think of this C1 Moonglow as we go through the review. We begin the review with the up close and personal montage of this watch, just a little quick video that I do with some music by my pal Adrian over at Somewhere in Time Watch Reviews. So let's get up close and personal with this one right now and check it out. And thanks for tuning back in. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that up close and personal, and I do want to say you would have seen at the beginning of the video the includes paid promotion. I did not buy this watch. This watch was supplied to me to do the review by Christopher Ward. A huge thank you to them for doing that. So let's get into the specifications of this watch. This is an expensive watch. The price is $2,975. That's Canadian dollars. You have a case size of 40.5 millimeters, lug width of 20 millimeters, your lug to lug at 48.5 millimeters, and your case thickness at 12.3 millimeters. The one thing I will say about this watch that is much better than the C1 Moonglow is the wearability. The fact that you have a 40 by 20 with a less than 50 millimeter lug to lug is going to make this watch fit and be comfortable on smaller wrists. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. If you have a 7-inch wrist, even slightly smaller than a 7-inch wrist, this one is going to be really nice and wearable for you, whereas their Moonglow version was simply too big. Okay, and the movement powering this one is a modified Swiss Automatic Sellita SW220. We'll talk about the modifications in just a second. 26 joules, beats at 28,800 beats per hour for a really nice, beautiful sweeping motion of 8 ticks per second on that seconds hand. 41-hour power reserve. It is, of course, hacking and hand winding. And the movement's standard accuracy, without it being certified or whatever, the standard accuracy is plus or minus 12 seconds per day. Okay, so the stated accuracy, or the standard I should say, is minus or plus 12 seconds per day lost. And as I've tracked this one with the Watch Tracker app, I have found the one in hand that I have to be minus 7.8 seconds per day, so well within the stated tolerance. Interesting, you can see that this case back is screwed down with 4 screws at each corner of the lug there. Now this is a modified movement, as I mentioned. You'll notice that there is no date wheel or a window on this watch. Instead you have a date disc, and you can see on the filming of the video it is the 13th today, so you can see that right there. But let's just go to the website to talk about how they modified this movement. They call it the Caliber JJ04 automatic moon phase, and it says, unlike most moon phase complications that transition once per day, JJ04 offers a more dynamic approach using the Sellita SW220 as a base. The date wheel along with its spring loading assembly have been stripped and replaced by 4 further wheels to drive the moon disc, with 2 or more required for the setting mechanism. And so that's how they modified this movement. So there you have it. Now let's just talk about the watch, just kind of go quickly over it, and I'm going to tell you what I really love about the watch and some things that, you know, I think could be improved upon and make it really that much more special. First of all, I want to talk about the band that it comes with. You can see that it is a Italian leather hand-stitched shell cordovan band. This is the way, guys, to do leather bands. I'm not a huge fan of leather bands, generally speaking, but this is really, really nice. And you can see that they have put a really nice deployant butterfly clasp at the end of the band here, and it keeps the band from crimping, getting damaged as you take it on and off. You simply just slide it through there. Now I have it on the 3rd hole, and so with my 7.5-inch wrist, you can see that, you know, this watch band would fit an 8.5-inch wrist. So most people aren't, you know, don't have wrists bigger than that. And so you just pop it in there, and then you just slide the leather band underneath the little crooks there, and yeah, there you go, Bob's your uncle. And it really, really hugs the wrist. It's super comfortable, and it definitely preserves the leather with that beautiful deployant clasp. And have a look at that too. Quick release spring bars. It's going to be a little bit out of focus because it's trying to focus on the clasp, but quick release spring bars too. So I am super impressed with the leather band that this was supplied with. So that's the band. Let's take a look at the case. The case on these things, these Christopher Wards, are just fantastic. It is next level finishing. It's brushed, and then you have a combination of brushing and high polish on the bezel, but it's the curves on this. You got a nice high polish curve there leading to the display case back, but the brushing is so satiny smooth, let me zoom in just a little bit, that you really can't even see the brushing lines. Like close up, yeah, you can, but when you zoom out, you can't. It's just so smooth. It's just absolutely phenomenal, the finishing on these. You got some polished surface on the top of the lugs, You know, there's that nice satinly smooth brushing there. You can see that you do have a signed crown as well. And I like the fact that the Christopher Ward logo was on the crown. I do wish or think that it would have been cool for them to put the Christopher Ward branding on that brushed deployant clasp. Now look at, you can see the brushing on the clasp. Here's the level of finishing on the case. You can actually see the lines on the clasp. You can't see the lines on the case. It's just so satiny smooth. My goodness. Well done. And for the price tag that you are paying for these watches, you're going to expect some excellent finishing, and this watch certainly has it. Okay, so let's talk about the crown engagement. This is one thing that is a slight disappointment for me. I would give the crown engagement on this one about a 6 out of 10. It does have a push-pull crown. You can see it is branded with the Christopher Ward logo. It does have some knurling on the crown, but it is very difficult to get to that first pull position. It is also, I found, when you wind it, it's just difficult to grip, and the movement inside has quite a bit of resistance, and so winding it isn't the easiest. And of course, pulling it to that first position in order to set the date and whatnot isn't the easiest either. So you got to get your fingernail underneath there, and there is a bit of a click there. It's not as distinct as I would like it. And so anyway, when the crown is pulled to position number 1, you can turn it clockwise, and that will change the date. And you can see the red marker there that goes around the dial. And the other thing that I found disappointing was just the way the moon phase works. And it is a bit difficult to set the moon phase if you're not on a particular spot of the moon phase that's easy to do. So let me just kind of show you. When you turn the crown counterclockwise, you will move the moon phase disc. And so when I got the watch, as an example, it was a full moon. And so, obviously you can set it right in between those two spots there, the curves there, to the full moon. And there you go. But if you were to try and set the watch, let me just go to the moon phase website that I used. For example, today, September the 13th, you have 89% illumination. So what you need to understand, let's go back to the watch, is that when you move this disc to set it, it goes counterclockwise, but it moves clockwise for the moon phase. So how do you set it at 89% illumination? This curve goes this way, the illumination goes this way. So it's just not the easiest to set. And the other thing that I found is in between the phases, so this would be full moon, obviously, and then you would have new moon, which would be no illumination. And so you can see the moon is still creeping up above those lines. And so I found that by checking this moon phase with the actual moon in the sky, and also checking it with this website that shows you the illumination, the website states that it's very accurate. I would say that it isn't, and that was quite a bit disappointing. It does do fairly well in getting to the new moon, getting to the full moon on the day that it indicates that it should, but it's those in-between phases of illumination that it isn't quite as accurate, and so that was somewhat disappointing to me, especially for a watch that's $3,000. I do love the dial. Let's just talk about the dial for a moment, and then we'll get to the lume. I do love this dial. I do like the date disc that goes around the outside, the simple hour markers on the inside, larger batons for every 5-minute interval. I do like this dial. The favorite part of this dial has to be, if I can zoom in a little bit, this picture of the moon. I think it's just fantastic. The way they did the moon phase, I don't know much about moon phase watches with these clear discs that go up. It just, again, makes it tricky to set somewhat. I'm getting fingerprints on it now. Let me just wipe it off. But the best part of this dial is that moon. It really is fantastic. Now, something that I would like to see different, I know some of you wouldn't want Christopher Ward there. I don't mind that. But I find the moon is such a beautiful picture of and rendering of the moon. And then you have the cheesy night sky around the moon with the fake stars and the, I just don't like. I think it just takes away from the class of this watch to have just... What I think would have been really cool was for them to use an actual image of the night sky as a part of that dial around the moon. That would have been absolutely phenomenal. I think the fake stars on the moon phase take away from, just the elegance of the watch. And so that's one thing that kind of disappoints me about the watch. So I would change the stars to an actual night sky. Crown engagement, not so great. And the moon phase itself, although it's stated to be, right on accurate, it isn't. It just isn't quite accurate as far as the illumination. Yes, it does reach the new moon cycle and full moon cycle on time, but the in-between stage is not so good. Okay. So let's talk about the lume. Here is the lume. It starts off very, very, very bright. You can see, obviously, the moons are illuminated, the hour and the minute hand. And once you get to 5 to 10 minutes, so now we've approached 5 minutes here, you're going to start to see the 5-minute interval markers don't last 10 minutes. They're going to disappear. And so I would say that lume is fair. 10 to 15 minutes you're getting into good lume, and so we're approaching that mark now, and the hour and minute hand are lasting at that 10 to 15 minute mark. However, what is going to happen once it hits the 15 to 20 minute mark, as we're approaching now, the hour and the minute hand are going to fade out fairly quickly before that 20 minute mark. And so while the lume on this is good, you can see there's no hour or minute hand on there now. While the lume on this is good, and many would say it's a dress watch, you don't really expect to have great lume on dress watch, but for a $3,000 watch, I expect to have great lume. Great lume would last 20 minutes on the time lapse that I just showed you, and you saw that the hour and the minute hand didn't last that 20 minutes. It disappeared. The moon lasts all 20 minutes. The moon has great lume. There's no question about that. But if you're going to put lume on, you want great lume on the hour and the minute hand. So that was a disappointment with this watch as well. So let me give you my concluding thoughts on this. All right, guys, so that is the Moonglow by Christopher Ward. Would I spend $3,000 on this watch? Initially, when I first got it, I was like, yes, this is a fantastic watch. I would love to own one. I think now that I've had it for a full moon cycle and I've seen the accuracy of the moon phase as it went from, first quarter to new moon to full moon. At new moon and full moon, the watch is accurate. The moon phase is accurate. The illumination in between those cycles isn't, and I was quite disappointed with that. So I don't think I would buy it for $3,000 myself. But that's just me. The other issue that I had was just, I think the dial looks a little bit cheesy with, not the moon. The moon's fantastic, but the stars that they put in behind the moon, I think if they had have put in an actual night sky with, an astronomy picture of stars in with that moon, I think it would have just made it look that much more premium. I think with the kind of the fake stars that they put on there that you see on a lot of cheaper watches with the AM PM indicator for the moon and the sun, I just think it takes away from the elegance. And so yeah, I'm not sure that I would get this watch for the price point because of those things. Let me know what you guys think. I know there's a lot of people that don't like Christopher Ward being written on the dial. That's not a beef that I have at all. I don't mind it. Although I would say that I think most people would be happy with the logo instead of the name. But with that, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Thanks so much for tuning in to another video. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this Moonglow. And thank you so much for your support. Please hit subscribe. Please be sure to hit the bell notification so that you can get notified when I upload new content. Thank you so much for your support. I'm doing another giveaway at 2,000 subscribers. It's going to be a San Martin. It's going to be an awesome watch. And so you need to subscribe to be a part of that. So guys, thanks for watching. Until the next time, whenever you leave your house, you must have a great looking piece to wear on your wrist like this C1 Moonglow. And wherever you're going, you need to get there on time. Until the next one, guys, God bless you. We'll see you then.